Hi, it's so awesome to be back here today. We started our business and joined this network at about the same time, and this Extraordinary Business Network made a huge difference for us in terms of getting as a catalyst to get our business going. And it's the 4th birthday, so wonderful to be back on the birthday celebration of the network. So yes, starting small, thinking big is about, even if you start out a tiny business, in your mind, imagine yourself already 10 times the size that you are, and start gearing yourself up. So if you, for example, are looking at packaging, don't quickly throw together some packaging so that you can start selling the first few items of your product. Think along that, go and do some investigation around what is the legal requirements for packaging. And to put in a bit more time and effort up front, it might mean that you're going to add information to your label that people will start photographing and putting out on social media. But in 2 years' time, when your business is now much larger, you've already done that work and you've got the right image out there up front. So it's often better to take much longer, especially when it comes to your branding and marketing up front when it's earlier, because it's going to be a lot more expensive later on to try and kind of fix up what you didn't quite get right back in the early days.
That was super useful and very interesting. Thank you, Fiona. The little bit you said about managing your cash flow, I think that's super important for all entrepreneurs.
It's probably the biggest challenge that any business faces, regardless of where you are, and certainly been for us part of the complexity of growing our business over the last 3 years. And there's a couple of things that stood out for me that I wanted to share with the members this morning. One of the biggest ones with that is that to make sure that you build very good relationships with your suppliers when you start out, because often they will come to the table later on when you need to start negotiating kind of supplier arrangements in terms of payments. Because what you'll find is, as you grow, there's more pressure on your margins. And often the only solution to margin pressure is to increase volumes of your inputs so you can get better prices. But in increasing your volumes, you need a lot more cash to lay out in order to afford those order sizes. And suppliers will, if you've built relationships with them, if you've paid them on time when you were tiny, and now you're bigger, and you say to them, well, can we put in the order, but perhaps you carry the stock, and as we draw it, we'll pay for it, or you come to arrangements to pay over time. If you built the relationship and they respect you as a business, will often come to the table because they want to grow your business with you. And we've done a lot of that. So cash flow management, the other thing that we found important is you must keep good records and so have good systems in place and get into a habit from day one of knowing, what have I got to pay out at the end of this month? Whether it's you start off with a simple spreadsheet or a simple system and list those items out so you don't get a shock when the month end comes. You manage it right. It's a mindset that you want to start out with.
Thank you very much, Fiona. The Sweating Your Assets, a very catchy title, but very important. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
It ties quite closely into also the managing of your cash flow. So when we sweat in real life, you're often outside of your comfort zone. That's why you're sweating. And sweating your assets means, do you make your assets work to the point where they are now sweating, they're at maximum capacity, before you invest in more assets? And often as entrepreneurs, we're so bogged down in our business and in our day-to-day processes that we don't see that there's actually more sweat space here for this asset. So you can do things like time and motion studies. So if you've got a piece of equipment, is that being utilized? Because actually there's 24 hours in a day. So think outside the box. Maybe you've got a shift, or you've got a team or your employees work for 8 hours of the day. You could put in a 3-shift system and sweat that asset and have 3 different slots of 8 hours where that piece of machinery is being used. You can start multitasking and multi-skilling the people in your team so that they can sweat the assets. And it's incredible what we found in our business when we sat down and did that exercise. We realized before we need to invest, we can actually get another 50% out where we actually thought we were at full capacity until we went and really did that study and had a look.
That's very insightful. Thank you, Fiona. And how about the discussion aspect around the point of the moral compass?
Yeah, so for us, we've got in. It's very important that you set what is your non-negotiables in your business. Doesn't matter what happens, you're not going to kind of compromise on those things. And for us, it's quality, integrity. So it doesn't matter. There's always a tension between quality and margins. So sometimes, in order to improve margins, quality takes a backseat. And ours, we've decided from day one, quality will always win over margin. Doesn't matter, and we'll find other ways to improve the margins. And we made sure that everyone in our team understands that. That is what we are about. Quality, we appreciate our customers. We've also realized over time that our business, and in any business, is not just about you. It's about what you can do to give back. And the business is bigger than us, so it's beyond, it's bigger than us, it's bigger than just the juice. And our moral compass is we sow back into the kingdom of God. We run our business on Christian business principles, and we give God the first of whatever income comes into our business. And we acknowledge that what we have, He is the provider of what we have in place. And that for us has become an absolute anchor in terms of how we think and how we operate. That our as a husband and I, as the team that run the business, we know our hope is not in our riches or in the riches of the business. Our hope is in Him who richly provides. And it changes your entire mindset around your business, because if your hope's not in your business but in Him who provides for you and has happened to give you a business, it takes the stress off, it takes the load off. Because you know, if the business is not there tomorrow, I don't lose my hope. Another door will open and He will provide something else. So that, and there's a book by Andy Stanley called How to Be Rich, which I can highly recommend that anyone can go out and read, whether you are a Christian or not a believer. Great value in this book, How to Be Rich, simple principles that are actually quite earth-shattering.
Thank you very much, Fiona. We've had a fantastic morning with you, and you've shared some very insightful tips. We really appreciate it, and thank you. May you go from strength to strength. Thank you.